Jack Spade back here with you, High Noon Leatherworks, for another leather adventure. And today we're going to start a new project, and it's a Halloween themed guitar strap. So the person we're making this for loves Halloween, it's her favorite holiday, and loves to play the guitar, so we're making them personalized guitar strap that has a Halloween theme on it. So come on in and let's get started. Alright, so we've got a piece of leather, probably I'd say it's 8 to 10 ounce. It's 3 inches wide, so we cut it 3 inches wide all the way down, and it is, let's look and see here, we've got 17, and so it's approximately 22 inches long. So that's the wide part, that's the part that goes over the shoulder. And then I've got a smaller piece cut that'll end up being the straps on each end. And one of them will be adjustable. So depending on the person that's wearing it, since I don't have that person here to do a custom fit, they'll be able to adjust that to fit them perfectly. So we'll set that aside. We'll use that later. I've got my tools out here. I've got my beveler. I've got my groover. I've got a couple of stamps, decorative stamps that I'm going to use around the edge. I've got my artwork here that I'm going to carve. And it's just some standard artwork from Halloween, different characters that's going to be on this guitar strap. Again, this person loves Halloween, so give them what they like. I'm going to strop my beveler here, get it nice and polished up. You can see in the light the way that shines on that. You want to keep those nice and polished, sharp, and then we're just going to bevel this piece. And you could do your grooving first if you want, or because this is so thick, it's not going to hurt to go ahead and bevel it first. If it was thinner leather, then probably if you're still going to do some grooving. The only reason I'm doing grooving on this project is to give me something to go by or to follow as I'm doing my decorative stamping around the outside edges. And the reason I'm doing that is just to offset the artwork that I'm going to put on there. Instead of it just being plain, I want to give it a little bit of decorative artwork on the outside edge, and that way it just kind of will enhance the carving in the middle. And the carving does go all the way down the strap. You can see how easily that groover glides when you keep that polished and sharp. And I'll go around the edge here. And the way I made these round ends on this larger, I don't have a punch cutter that's that big, that's 3 inches, so I just took box tape like this, used the inside diameter and shaped it, drew a half circle in there, and then cut it off with a razor knife. So that's how I did that. I'm going to set this aside, get it out of the way. So I've got that side beveled. I'm not going to bevel the other side. I'm going to leave it square this time. And then I want to be very careful when I do this that when I get going around these ends here, that I keep it very straight. So I'll start on the straight edge. And I'm grooving, approximately, it looks 1/8 of an inch. And you want to keep steady down pressure so that you get a good straight line. And then try to keep that waste out of the way, because it can, if you get on top of that waste with your tool, it can make your line want to go a little wavy, and you don't want that. You want a good straight line. Now here's the trick. When you get to this end, you want to go slow, and you want to keep turning and following that edge all the way around so that you don't get like stop and start spots, where you get some point that's wider and then it gets narrower to the edge and then it gets wider. You don't want that. So you want to try to keep it slow, steady, keep turning your piece so that it keeps going around the edge. And this is a pretty long piece here. I mean, it's not as long as a 40-inch belt, but it's pretty long. So concentrate. That's key too, is to keep your concentration. Try to focus. And then make sure that meets up to where you started. And that came out perfect. So we got kind of lucky, but we were real focused on how we were cutting those grooves in there. So that's going to give us our little line, that groove line, for us to follow as we use our stamps, our decorative stamps. I've got one little spot here that I need to get out of there. Alright, so that's done. So now we can go ahead and moisten or case our leather and get it ready for stamping and carving. But we need to case it, and then we'll take our stylus and put our artwork on, and then we'll stamp. And that way, by the time we get done with the stamping, the artwork will be ready to carve. So let's go ahead and get our water. And again, this is just tap water and a sponge. And we want to moisten that leather. You don't have to soak it. And you'll see, as we case this, you'll see the colors changing. And as that, we're just getting that top layer moist. But as that starts changing from the darker wet look back to the natural color that it was when we started, that's when we can go ahead and start doing our tracing of our artwork and our stamping. So I'm going to place this artwork right in the center. So I'm going to double check the length, and that is 9 inches to the bottom of that artwork. Let's see, 6.5, so I need to bring that down. That's 7.5. That's 7 3/4, so we're really close here. That's 7.5. 7 3/4, so I just need to move it just ever so slightly, and it's centered up. So once it's centered up, we can go ahead, and I use painter's tape because it's easy on, easy off. I don't ever actually stick it onto my leather because it'll leave that sticky residue when you go to pull it off of your leather, and then that affects your dyeing. So you want to be careful with that. But what I do is I'll actually tape down my artwork to my table, my workspace, and then that way my artwork doesn't move. So I'm not fighting, trying to chase around my artwork with the leather itself. Now I can move, if I want to, I can leave my leather loose underneath there so I can move it around if I need to for any reason, but I want my artwork taped down so it's not going to move on me. Then I can take either a round end stylus or a pointed end stylus. This artwork is done on wax paper. Then I have heavy clear box tape on top of it, and that's what preserves the artwork, is the box tape, so that I can use a stylus like this, or I've got a new one here that would probably work great. We'll use it. I got this at the dollar store in the craft section, and it just has 2 different size ends on it, round ball points. This one's a real nice size, so I'm going to use it. And then what I want to do is go around and just follow that artwork, and I'm just tracing it. And you notice I'm holding down on top so that the leather doesn't move. And then I have my artwork taped down. Now these bigger pieces, I want to go, the fatter lines, I want to go all the way around. And then the skinnier lines, I'm just tracing those, period. So I'll probably speed this up for you as I trace this artwork, and then I'll be back. All right, so we've got all the artwork copied. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different pieces of art that's on there. So it's a lot of tracing of artwork. I'll set that artwork aside, and then you can see how I've got all the artwork on there now for each one of the characters. So there's 7 different ones on there. And while this is still cased, I want to go ahead and do the stamping. So in order to do the decorative stamping all the way around, I'm going to go ahead and put that on the next video. So there's how I get my artwork on there, and the Halloween themed guitar strap. Come back, next video we'll be doing the decorative stamping and moving on. So as I always say, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.